Welcome, everybody, to yoga. Really happy to be here with all of you. And for folks that are new to these classes, my name is Mimi, and I've been teaching for Thunder Mist for a few years and feel really grateful to them for continuing to provide these classes, and especially that they add them for free or provide them for free. And there's a lot of other great programming that they provide for free. So I encourage all of you, if you haven't already, to check out their Facebook page, and there's stored videos on there. You can watch any of these yoga videos or the workout videos that happen on Monday as many times as you like. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and this will be a pretty gentle class, hopefully accessible for wherever you're at, level-wise, energy-wise, injury-wise. But I can't see any of you, which, normally if I was practicing and teaching in a studio, I'd be able to see you in front of me and give you some personalized advice for your body. But since I can't see you and there's no way to interact with you in this medium, I'm gonna encourage you to really listen to what's going on in your own body. And if something doesn't feel good in whatever way, go ahead and see if you can tweak it, adjust it, modify, or just stop doing it altogether. So really pay attention to what's going on with your body and respect it and make modifications as needed. And just one word. So the only thing I would advise you to have for this class is some sort of prop that you can put your hands on. So this is a traditional yoga block, but you don't need to have yoga blocks to do this. You could use books or cans or boxes, something firm that you could rest your hands on, just to make some of the poses a little bit easier if you can't get your hands all the way down to the ground. And with that, we're going to go ahead and begin. And we'll start on our backs. So go ahead and come to your back. And as you come to your back, can bend your knees and rest your feet on the floor. And just take a few breaths. So all together, let's take a big inhale through the nose. And then exhale with a deep sigh through the mouth. And again, go ahead and inhale. Big deep breath through the nose. Hold the breath in for just a moment. And then exhale, maybe make some noise, let it go through the mouth. And one last time, inhale, drawing the breath in, filling, and pausing. And then exhaling, make some noise, let it all out. And then just begin to notice. Notice if that simple act of breathing in and out with some intention and focus helped to land you more in this current moment. And begin to notice just what's going on for you tonight in your body, in your heart, in your mind. And so if you're feeling like me and you've been carrying around a lot of extra anxiety and fear and horror, having watched the events of last week at the Capitol unfold and just bearing in mind all of the history that went into arriving at that moment. If you're carrying that around you, You might really feel that in your nervous system. So we feel anxiety, we feel fear in our body. It gets lodged in our body. And it's really important that we find ways to shift that, to be able to step outside from that and focus on our breath, slow down the beating of our heart, and just generally begin to release the places that we might be holding or gripping, or where some of that anxiety and fear has lodged itself. And so we'll be doing a lot of focus on breath and sort of rhythmic moving in and out of things together with our breath as a means for calming and soothing the nervous system. I'm going to go ahead and just take a few final breaths here. And bringing awareness to the back body and feeling the solidity and the support of the floor beneath you. Maybe taking some solace from that support. And see if you can allow your body to trust it and sink a little bit more fully. And then with your next inhale, reach your arms overhead and stretch your legs long. And then just take some time to wiggle. You might yawn. That was a genuine yawn on my part. Just kind of wiggle and move about. Open your mouth. Again, maybe make some noise. Sigh. Good. And then go ahead and squeeze your knees in towards your belly. Just gather them in. Rock a little bit, side to side, back and forth. And then lower your feet to the floor. You're going to open your feet about as wide as your mat. If you've got really long legs, maybe you actually bring your feet off your mat. And then reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And you're going to bend at the elbows, keeping your arms rooted over your chest. And just take hold. Opposite hand to opposite forearm, maybe opposite elbow. And then keeping your feet wide, you're going to drop your knees down to the right and look over your left shoulder. And then inhale back to the center and drop your knees down to the left, elbows and head spin to the right. And then just go back and forth like that. Side to side, slow and steady. Massaging the back of the skull, loosening up, shoulders and hips, and all the while connecting movement with breath. Good. And then bring your feet so they're flat on the floor, keeping your arms in this bound position. Go ahead and bring your arms to the floor behind you if you can. And then bring the soles of your feet together and open your knees out wide. And then see if you can relax into the shape. Few breaths here. One more moment. And then go ahead and bring your feet to rest on the floor and allow your hands to come down and rest on your belly. Take a few breaths. Feel the rise and the fall of your belly beneath the cup of your palms. Good. And then pick up your right foot and catch your knee or catch behind your thigh if that's difficult, and squeeze that knee in towards your belly. Relax the back body down. And then just begin to circle your ankle. You can circle it in one direction. Maybe circle it in the other, or point and flex. And then interlace your fingers behind your thigh. And you're going to begin to just simply straighten and bend your leg a few times. And if that feels like too much for your hamstring, you can release your arms by your side and continue to do the same thing. Good. And the next time the knee is bent in, you're going to release your hands down and draw the knee in even more. And then reach your foot straight up towards the ceiling. Flex your foot so it's like you could push the roof up with your foot. And then continue with that angle of your foot. You're going to begin to slowly extend the leg down towards the floor. And let the leg come so that it's just hovering off the floor. And then bend your knee, and without the assistance of your hands, just draw that knee back in. And then just keep doing that, like you're pedaling something with one leg. So the leg floats down, extending, comes to a hover, and then you sharply pull the knee in, but without your hands. Do it a handful more times. Let this be your last time. Leg reaching, floating down towards the floor. And then let the heel just land there. Relax your arms out. And you're just going to turn that left knee outwards. So bringing your foot against your thigh, coming into this kind of tree-like position with your legs. If you know that pose, standing yoga pose, a tree pose. And take a couple more breaths here. And then take that left ankle and just bring it over your right thigh. And you can keep that knee spinning out. And then you're going to bend your right knee. Keep that cross to the ankle. And bring your right foot to the floor. Just a couple moments here. Arms can go wide. And we're going to rock our legs down to the right. So rocking your legs to the right. Bring that left foot to the floor. And then rock right back up. And then rock your feet over to the right and rock back up. And just do that a few more times. And then rocking your legs back up. You're going to keep the cross of the left ankle. Pick up your right foot and see if you can catch behind that thigh. If you can't catch behind that thigh, you might hold on to your left ankle instead, or even hold on to your pants if you need something to grip onto and can't clasp behind your thigh. And take a few moments here. Try to relax through the neck and shoulders and upper back. Another few breaths. And then slowly release your foot down, again maintaining that cross of your ankle, arms out into a T. You're going to walk your right foot over to the right and let your legs come down. Ankle still crossed over the thigh. They're falling down to the left. Hanging out here for a few breaths. Taking this nice, long, slow start to our practice. We'll eventually come to our feet, but we're going to spend a lot of this hour low to the ground, taking it slow and low tonight. And then inhale and bring the legs back up. You're going to lower your left foot down. And then let's straighten our legs and reach our arms overhead. And once again, take a big stretch. Take up space on your mat. You can wiggle a little bit. You can open your mouth and yawn. And then bend both knees, placing the soles of the feet on the floor. And you're going to pick up your right foot and squeeze your knee in towards your belly. And again, if you can't quite squeeze that knee in or catch in front of your shin, hold on behind the thigh. Sometimes that's a lot more accessible. And then holding on to the back of your thigh, if you're not already there, everybody's switching. And then just begin to bend and straighten the leg. Few more times, just awakening the back of the leg or the hamstrings. And then the next time the leg bends in, go ahead and release your arms down, but squeeze that knee closer towards your belly without your hands. And then reach your foot up towards the ceiling and lengthening through your heel, begin to float that leg all the way down towards the floor. Let it hover, and then sharply bend your knee and draw that knee in. Point your foot up and extend it. Here's that pedaling action. And do it a few more times, just kind of cycling through. And then reaching with that leg. Let the leg drop down. And then let your right knee flop outward. Hanging out here for a couple of breaths in this kind of tree pose shape of the legs. And then take that right ankle and cross it over your left thigh. Keep spinning that right knee out. And then bend the left knee and place your foot on the floor. We're going to tip our legs back and forth over to the left. So go ahead and rock your legs over. Maybe that right foot comes down to the floor. Maybe it just hovers. And then rock back to the center. And just keep doing that a few times, rocking over and shifting back. And then the next time you shift back to the center, you're going to try picking up that left foot and catch behind that thigh. And again, if you can't quite catch behind your thigh, hold on to your right shin or ankle or your pants. Take a few more breaths. And begin to lower that left foot to the floor. Walk that foot over to the left and then let both legs fall down to the right. Use the weight of your right ankle on that thigh to help drop it lower to the floor, creating that opening across the front of the hip, quadriceps. If you've been sitting in a chair for a lot of the day, this will probably be good medicine for your body. Take another breath or two. And then rock your legs back up. Uncross your legs. We're going to roll off in either direction and just guide ourselves up to a seat. And we're going to come directly into a downward facing dog. So spinning yourself around, you can come into a tabletop to start. And then walking hands forward of the shoulders, tuck your toes under, and lift yourself up and back. And in your downward facing dog, you can take a little time to pedal the feet and wobble the hips. And then begin to walk your hands backwards towards your feet. So we're traveling backwards on our mat. Then once your hands and your feet come in line, go ahead and soften your knees and allow your upper body to drape down over your thighs. And just take a couple of moments here. And then pressing into your feet, just slowly roll yourself up to standing. And once you arrive, let's go ahead and take a few shoulder rolls. So you can roll the shoulders back and down the back body, squeezing the shoulder blades together and opening up the heart. And then take the shoulders in the opposite direction. So coming up the back and around and down, up the back and around and down. Good. And then stepping your feet in closer together, we're going to do something called half sun salutation. If you're not familiar with it, just follow along. Inhale, sweep your arms up, look up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, soften your knees and begin to dive forward. Inhale, press your hands to the center of your shins and extend to straight legs and a flat back. And then exhale and fold. Inhale, sweep your arms high and wide. And exhale, bring them in towards your heart. And again, inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale, a big fold down over your legs. Inhale, press to extend. And exhale, fold down. Inhale, sweep your arms high and wide. And exhale, join your hands in at heart center. This time we're going to do the same thing, but crawl our way forward to a high plank. Reach your arms up. Exhale, fold your way down. Inhale, extend. extend. And then soften your knees a bunch. Bring your hands to the floor, and you're just going to crawl your way forward. And we're going to come into a plank. If a plank is difficult for you to hold, you can drop your knees to the floor, but maybe challenge yourself by bringing your chest and your shoulders over your wrists, tucking your tailbone so that you're still building up strength in your body. Take another moment here. And then with control, whether your knees are up or down, we're going to lower all the way down to our belly. So come all the way down to the floor. Point your toes behind you. Fold your hands underneath your forehead. And we're going to bend our knees and just swing the legs back and forth. Side to side. Good. And then straighten out your legs behind you. And then bring hands into a cobra position. So hands are just outside the shoulders. Wrap the elbows in, roll the shoulders back. And rather than press yourself up to a cobra with your hands, see if all of the lift can happen through the musculature of your back. Holding here. And then maybe pick up your hands, squeeze the upper back together. Hold for a breath. And then lower down. And we're going to push into our hands, come to a tabletop, and then come to a child's pose. So bringing big toes together and knees apart, sit your hips back towards your heels, and bow down. Take a few moments. Breath centering into the back body. Few more moments here. And then find your way into a tabletop. Spread through your palms, and let's take a few cat-cows here. So inhaling and opening up the front of the body, and exhaling to round. Inhaling, tilting the pelvis forward, opening up through the front, and exhale and round. And then keep it up. You might close your eyes so that you can be more in touch with what you're feeling rather than get distracted by whatever else is going on in your house, in your home. And then come to a neutral position. You might walk the shins in a little bit closer. And then send your right leg back behind you. Keep your hips level with the floor. And then reach your left arm out in front of you. And always keep that left hand on the floor if the balance is too challenging. Take another moment here. And then lower your left palm. You're going to keep your right leg straight and bring the ball of your foot to the floor. And then push through your heel. Then you might push steady, or you might pulse a little bit. Take some time here. And then rooting into your right hand, we're going to twist open to the left. So the left arm begins to reach. You can wrap that right shoulder under and open up your chest. Take one more breath. And then lower your foot down, your hand down. And we're going to twist in the other direction. So you're going to spin your left shin out a little bit, drop your right heel, and spin open to the right. You've got some choices here. You can take that top arm and reach it across your ear. You might keep it reaching up, and maybe you lift that right leg, coming into some balance. Or you might reach that right arm back, bend your right knee, and see if you can catch that hand. So working wherever you're at. If you've caught that foot in your hands, maybe you kick it away from you. Take a couple moments here, coming into whatever version suits you tonight. And then begin to lower that right hand down. Spin yourself back around to face the front of your mat. And we're going to come on up into a downward facing dog. So tucking toes under and lifting hips up and back. Few deep breaths. And then lower your knees down. We'll come back into our tabletop. Send your left leg back into the air. And reach your right arm forward. Hold for a couple breaths. And then lower your right hand. Lower the ball of your foot. Push through your heel. Take a couple moments here. And then letting go of that push, we're going to twist open to the right. So begin to rotate the upper body, reach that arm up, and loop the left arm under. And then lowering that hand down, we'll twist in the opposite direction with all those different options. Spin the right shin out, drop the left heel, and open up. So you can take this version. Arm might reach across the shoulder. Maybe you just lift the foot up for some balance. Or maybe you begin to circle that left arm back, bend your left knee, and catch that foot in your hand. Oops. And if you fall out of it like I just did, just try to laugh at yourself. And take a couple more breaths. And then gently release. Spin yourself around to the front of your mat. And we're going to take a downward facing dog again. And that downward facing dog will eventually bring us to our feet. So coming into your downward facing dog, just take a little time. Pedaling your feet, wobbling your hips, rocking from side to side. And then begin to walk yourself forward on your mat and come into a forward fold. Allow the upper body to drape. Knees are soft. Head and neck are long. And then pressing into your feet. Sweep your arms high and wide. And then draw them in to heart center. And just take a moment here. Spread through the soles of the feet. Feel the strength and the power of your legs. And then take a hand to your heart and a hand to your belly. Dip your chin towards your chest. just begin to notice how you're feeling at this point of the practice. Notice if you've been present and rooted in your body or your mind's been drifting someplace else. If that's the case, now might be a good time to just welcome yourself back. There's always the chance to begin again. And that might happen again and again throughout your practice. A few more breaths here. Quiet and still. Let's go ahead and come to the front of our mats, and this is where those blocks might come in handy. You can bring one on either side of your ankles, right at the very front of your mat. And again, if you don't have blocks and you're practicing at home, you can always use books or boxes, anything sturdy and stable you can press your hands down into. Bring hands together at your heart. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale, part them wide, big swan dive down. Inhale, extend, and then bring your hands to your blocks and step your left foot way back. Then come into a lunge. Try to press through your heel, get a nice long line of energy from the heel to the crown of the head. And we're going to bend and straighten that front leg. So go ahead and exhale and straighten your leg. And inhale and bend. And we're just going to move back and forth like that. Slow, steady, rhythmic movement. Next time your front leg is straight, go ahead and keep it there. And bow in. Take a few more breaths, reaching that back heel towards the floor, reaching your heart towards your big toe. And then bend your front knee a little bit more deeply and sink your back knee to the floor. Come on up, bringing hands to your hips. Good. And then sink your hips forward and reach your arms up. And maybe as the arms come up overhead, you go ahead and widen through the shoulders and lean back in this very open-hearted gesture. Take another couple breaths. Good. Lean forward. Bring your hands to your blocks. And we're just going to simply shift our hips back. Flex your front foot. That front leg is straight and you're bowing in over it. And then lower your foot to the floor. You're going to bend into your front knee. And we're just going to reverse where we came from. So you're going to tuck your toes under and straighten that back leg. And then pressing into your blocks and that right foot, simply step your left foot forward. And sweep your arms up to rise. Bring hands in to the heart. Take a big breath in through the nose. And release it through your mouth. And the other side. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale, bow your way forward. Inhale and extend. And then bring your hands to your blocks and step your right foot back, coming into a nice deep lunge. Lift through the heart, press through the back heel. And then just begin bending and straightening the leg a few times. Synchronize your movements with your breath. And the next time you straighten your front leg, come into a hold. Reach your heart forward and back. And then bending into your front knee, you're going to ease your back knee to the floor. Come upright, bring your hands to your hips, and then sink your hips forward and reach your arms up. Coming into kneeling lunge. Holding for a couple breaths. And then the hands come down. You're going to shift your hips backwards and straighten your front leg. Bow in, flex your front foot. Good. And then we're going to work our way back to standing that same way, coming into it, reversing what we did. So bending your front knee, tuck your back toes under, lift that knee up, and then just simply step that right foot up. This time move blocks out of the way, open your feet as wide as your mat, bend both knees a little or a lot, and just allow yourself to hang down over your thighs for a couple of breaths. And then simply roll yourself up to standing. Sweep arms up overhead. And with arms overhead, just begin to reach side to side. Feel that extension of the waist and the side body. And then reach up nice and tall. You're going to catch your left wrist with your right hand. Give it a little pull up towards the ceiling. And then reach up and over to the right. One more moment here. And then inhale up. And we'll switch sides. So go ahead and take hold of the right wrist with the left hand. Give it a little tug towards the ceiling. And then a little tug over to the left. And then inhale up. Hands lower your palms down by your side. Take a breath in. Release it with a sigh. Good. Bring your hands into your heart. And just stack one on top of the other. So talking about the center of the chest, your heart center. So in yoga, we talk about the heart as the spiritual heart, right at the center of the heart, the chest, rather than over to the left, the anatomical heart. And remembering which hand is stacked on top, which hand is close to your heart. You're going to inhale, open your arms wide and lean back. And then as you exhale, come back up. Maybe tuck the chin in towards your chest, reverse the cross of your hands. And then inhale, open up. Exhale, keep switching the cross of your hands, opening up wide, receptive, and then directing attention and focus back to the heart. few more times. And let this be your last time stretching the belly wide. And then hands come in at the heart and fold them into prayer hands. We're just simply going to roll our way down to the floor. Bring hands to the floor and begin to walk yourself back to a downward facing dog. Once in your downward facing dog, take a little time and then dip your knees to the floor. And let's find a child's pose. So bringing big toes together, knees can go wide. And bow your way down. Few breaths. And then let's go ahead and roll onto our backs. And once you come down onto your back, go ahead and adjust yourself. Maybe knees are bent. Maybe you squeeze the knees in towards the belly for a moment. And then lower the feet to the floor. Have the feet about hips width distance apart. And walk your heels in close towards your buttocks. Arms down by your side, nose points towards the ceiling, and let's go ahead and push up into a bridge pose. So pressing into your feet, beginning to lift the backside off the floor. You can walk your shoulders underneath you. Lift through the power of your thighs. Take a couple more breaths. And then slowly roll your way down, feeling the back body come to rest completely on the floor. Take a big breath in and release it with a sigh. And then we'll come up one more time, coming into a bridge to hold. So coming up when you're ready, you'll press into your feet, back of the body, leaving the floor. Maybe you inch the shoulders in closer. And take a few more moments here. And then slowly roll your way down and feel the weight of the body rest on the floor. We're going to come to roll on over to the right-hand side of our body. And as you do that, catch your head with that right arm like a pillow. And curl your knees in tight to the belly. You're going to reach that left arm out straight in front of you. And then as you inhale, you're going to take that arm, roll your head, neck, and shoulders, and open up to the left. And then roll back. And just do that a few more times. Rolling back and forth. Spiraling in the upper body. You can adjust the shape if you feel like it needs a little bit of tweaking. You can also put a pillow under your head if you don't like your arm under it. And then the next time that arm opens up behind you, shimmy your upper body so that you can twist open a little bit more. and reach both arms out into a T. Take a few more breaths here. Maybe the right hand comes to rest on top of the left thigh. And then release and roll onto your back. Adjust yourself so that you're straightened out in the center of your mat. And then we're gonna roll on over to the left. So cupping your head with that left arm and curling the knees in as you roll to your side. And then stretch that right arm in front of you. And you're just going to begin to fan that arm open and let your whole upper body, head, neck, shoulders, chest roll back and forth with the motion of that arm. Next time that arm fans out behind you, and kind of dig into your left shoulder to help spin your chest to the right, and then open both arms wide. And take your left hand on top of your right thigh if you'd like. More breath. And then release and now roll onto your back. So adjusting yourself, centering yourself on your mat once again. Pick up your feet and squeeze your knees in towards your belly. Find a little bit of rock and roll. And then lower your feet to the floor. And we're going to come into just a few minutes of stillness and rest. So if you're new to yoga, this is traditionally called Shavasana. It's a period for the body, the mind, the breath to come into a quieter, softer state. A chance for the body to digest everything that you've just done. So I like to think of Shavasana like the rest that's always recommended after you eat a big meal. You give your body and your nervous system the chance to absorb all of the goodness that you've fed it over the last hour. If lying on your back is hard for you, you can always come to a seated meditation. Otherwise, flat on your back, legs extended or long, arms in whatever position helps to promote this sense of rest and ease. We'll stay for about a minute more. as you're ready, begin to deepen your breath. You might do similar big inhales and releasing with an exhale like we did at the start of class. Taking the breath in, holding it a second, and then releasing with a sigh. And then when you're ready, draw your knees in towards your belly. And rock a little bit, side to side, massaging the lower back, the sacrum. And then roll yourself off in either direction. You're going to ease your way up to a seat. And join me in a seated position. And once you've landed there, see if you can find a comfortable way to sit so that the spine is long and the heart is open. And with eyes closed, just notice what you feel. Notice what's shifted, what's changed, what's settled, what's open. And then bring hands together at your heart. And we'll take the edge of our thumbs and bring it right into our heart center. Just using that as a reminder to listen to your heart and let it be your guide. And we'll take a deep bow of gratitude to one another and everyone in this Thunder Mist community and all of the ways that yoga can support us in these troubling times. Bowing to one another in deep gratitude. Thank you all for being here tonight or whenever it is that you tune in and you watch this practice. See you soon.